All righty. Greetings to you all. Welcome back to another edition of Vibe with VIAG. I am your host, Warren Mitchell, here on the set with the beautiful Angela Golden Bryan. Oh my gosh! We also have the Vice President of the Virgin Islands Association, the Queen, the beautiful Kalila Moorhead. What's up, Kalila?
Hey, Bongo, how you doing?
Doing
Happy
good,
Friday.
doing good. So
Good night,
Kalila
Angela.
will be giving a brief intro to our fabulous guest. And right after she does that, she will go behind the scenes and along with the rest of the Virgin Islands Association Committee to look at questions that you have on site. We are live at the VIAG group. So if you have questions, please ask them in the group and we will pass them on forward here. All right, so we're listening to Stanley and the 10 Sleepless Night in the background with Queen Mary's song. All right, let me quiet that down. Let me groove a little bit.
Right? They are timeless. They are time. I love
Indeed.
them.
Yes.
Absolutely. They definitely are. Well, thank you, Bongo. So as Bongo mentioned, we are here with the beautiful, gorgeous Angela Golden Bryan. And Angela is the writer or the author of the historical fiction entitled Fireburn, the screenplay. Angela grew up on the beautiful island of St. Croix, USVI, and is a daughter of the soil. In a culture rich in oral traditions, she grew up hearing folk tales at family gatherings and grew to love telling stories herself. Her love for bringing stories to life fuels her passion as a writer, transformational speaker, and an actor. Angela has been entertaining audiences with her acting skills since she was in elementary school and is at home, whether on set with cameras or in front of live audiences. Two of Angela's sacred gifts are encouraging and teaching, so it is no wonder that when she is not on set, Angela can be found creating her own shows that are intended to bring encouragement, share information, or simply bring a smile to your face. Angela holds a master's degree in counseling psychology from Chaminade University of Honolulu, a master of practical theology from Wesley Seminary, as well as numerous certifications in human behavior. She is also a certified raw food chef and uses her knowledge to help people incorporate more healthy foods into their existing diets. We are really excited to get to know more about you, Miss Bryan, and the Fireburn documentary. And so I'll pass it back on to Bongo, and I'll be here in the background, just listening and taking questions from the audience. And I'm just really excited about this one. So back to you guys.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So
My pleasure.
welcome. Thank you, Kalila. Thank you so much for introducing our special guest this month here with VIAG, and we will connect with you in the background. Much love to you. So Lady Angela, wow.
Yes,
sir.
Here,
Remember, I think it was in 2019, I was doing some research on something with the Caribbean, and I came up upon the documentary, at least the teaser, which we will show in just a few seconds here, and connected and wrote you and asked you like, hey, if you need any help marketing this in here in Atlanta, let me know what I can do to help and whatnot. And you actually reached back out and said, definitely you will be reaching out to me. So I'm glad we connected. So this has been in the works for some time then.
Yes, and thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much for reaching out. And I absolutely, when someone reaches out to me, I love to respond and let them know there is a face and a body on the other end of that contact button. Yes, it has been in the works for quite a long time. And people are like, oh, wow, they're celebrating and it's awesome. But they don't know that this has been something in the works since like 2010, which is okay.
Wow.
That's to serve as an encouragement to any of you all who say that you want to do something and you've procrastinated. Okay, now is the time. Let's get going. You can do it.
That is awesome. That is awesome. All right, so let's get a little bit about you before we get into the film, and just to get a little bit about who are you behind the scenes. So,
All right.
for you, you were actually born where?
Actually, on a military base in
Okay.
North Carolina, Fort Bragg, North Carolina. Yes.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And so your parents, where are they from?
Yes. So my father, he born and raised on St. Croix, Frederickstead, and
Okay.
my mother, born in Mississippi, raised in Buffalo, New York, and they
Okay.
met in Fort Bragg while she was cleaning his teeth. They were both
Oh.
in the army, and I guess that was romantic or something, because next thing you know,
So hopefully
you
it wasn't love at first bite.
you know what? You took the words out of my mouth, and I was like, should I say that? I was like, no, no, but you said it, so good job.
Oh my goodness.
Exactly.
All right, cool. And so
Yes.
you moved to St. Croix around what age or so?
It was probably around 4 or so we moved into my grandmother's house. I remember the old days, man. We're talking a little tiny little house down in Frederickstead with a little outhouse. We'd have to go
Wow.
outside to use the bathroom, and while we were waiting for our house to get built in Wim. Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. So Wim is where basically you grew up in Wim?
Yes. I
In
grew
St.
up in
Croix?
Wim.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Because
Like,
West is the best.
well, that's what I heard, But I hear Grove got a thing to say about that, Grove
Well.
passive, Well, anyway, yes. We'll ride with that. So what are any memorable experiences you had growing up on St. Croix?
Yeah, growing up on St. Croix without having any other experience to compare it with, I took it for granted until I had my own kids, and I realized what a blessing it was to have grown up in such a beautiful, safe place. It really felt safe, being outside until the sunset without a care in the world.
Wow.
Over at the neighbor's house, and whoever's house you landed at, you get a little bit of food from them. Then you go over to your house, get a little bit of food there. It was just the sense of community is really what stands out in my mind growing up when I did. I don't know if things have changed so much since I haven't lived in St. Croix for a while, but that's really what I remember is the love and the community.
Okay. Yes, I think that's
in my mind growing up when I did. I don't know if things have changed so much since I haven't St. Croix for a while. Oh, good. We have an echo. Okay, to make sure I said what I said. Let me listen to that.
I was
Okay.
like, what in the world is going on? Okay, I think we got it now. All right. So I think that's a lot. That's one of the main memories that many of us who have now living in the U.S. mainland that we remember: the togetherness, the small community, and being able to connect with people and their relatives and going to visit unannounced. We don't have to let
Exactly.
people know
Yes.
that you're coming over. Yeah, you just show up. Yeah. And many of us had extra, food or different things waiting for the guests because we never know who might show up.
Exactly. And when you
All right.
say extra, I have to say there were always extra eyes as well, because as an
Yes.
adolescent, you don't know who's watching you. And by the time you get home, your parents already know what you've been doing.
Right. That is so true. That is so true. I remember getting a couple spanking from my parents because a neighbor had to tell my parents what it is I did or didn't do. So I remember
Exactly. So
So
tell me, did you get a spanking or did you get beat?
I get beat, Miss
You get
Son.
beat?
No.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness! Some of the stuff that defects here in Georgia would come into play and probably remove me from the home. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, things have changed. Yes.
Yes.
I mean, even to say beat. Oh my God.
Yes, right.
But that's what it was. Hey, you get beat.
You get beat, and everybody get or licks. You
get licks.
Miss Son. Yes.
You get licks.
All right. So let's see here. One of your many gifts is a counselor, and I know you talked to when we spoke earlier that that's how you got into the field, but that's not where you stayed. But what led you to being a counselor?
Yeah, for me, counseling, and as the intro, some information was being read about me, is this spiritual gift of encouragement. I've always wanted to encourage people without even knowing that it was a spiritual gift or that it was a
Right.
gift, just a quality about me. And so going into school and becoming an adult, I realized that, oh, okay, a way that I can do that as a career is by being a counselor. And so I was actually in the Navy as well.
Okay.
And I went to alcohol dependency training. So the
Okay.
population that I dealt with was the addictions, be it alcohol, food, and you know, being in the Navy, there was not supposed to have been any drug addiction, but you know, as is the case, hey, with any population, there's going to be a little bit of everything.
That's right.
So
That's right.
that was my specialty, was the addictions field for until, boy, this is going to date me, until
Okay.
1991.
Okay.
And one of the things that I found out is that I would be at home, and this was my own issue, but I would be at home thinking about these people and, you know, what could I do? I would take work home with me. And
Mm,
so I realized also that it was for a season,
yeah.
and it's not anything that I do anymore, except,
Mhm.
you know, I encourage in other ways now.
Okay, we appreciate that very, very much. And one of the main ways you're encouraging is by telling the history of the Virgin Islands here. And I think you before the film you wrote a book, James and the Fireburn, I think it was.
Yes, sir. James and the Fireburn. Yes, and that
Okay.
one that came after I saw Fireburn the screenplay, which it's an adult book, but it can very well be handled by mature middle schoolers and obviously high schoolers.
Okay.
And so I would go into the school system, and I would read, I would answer questions, and you know, talk about the history, African American history, Caribbean history, just all these things, as well as human rights. And then I thought,
Yeah.
wow, what about the younger kids? Because as an actress, I was involved in a program called Book Pals, and I
Okay.
would go every week. I would go into the third grade public school system, into the third grade in particular, and I would read stories to them. And so I became very fond of third graders in particular. And I thought, what about third graders? They couldn't handle Fireburn the screenplay, but what
Okay.
about something else? And so that was how James and the Fireburn even came to be, is that I wanted a book for younger kids. And as I sat down to start writing it, it morphed into a lot more than simply Caribbean history, because
Mhm.
I ended up addressing bullying, which is quite
Okay.
rampant in the school system right now.
Yes, most definitely.
And absolutely. So I ended up addressing that. And I used the backdrop of Fireburn, so that these kids, they're getting a taste of VI history, as well as a strong anti-bullying message.
Oh, wow. Wow. That is awesome. It's beautiful. And yeah, I think in an interview you had, I think with WTJX with on the bookcase with
Yeah.
Shauna
Yeah.
Richards, you mentioned something about your son being playing a role somewhat in with the book.
Yes, absolutely. He was definitely my inspiration. And sometimes I not some I see how when an issue becomes personal, how much more deeply a person can feel it. And so now, after saying a person, I will
Yes.
bring it home.
Mm,
My son having experienced being bullied,
mm.
and seeing how our family was affected by that, it made the whole topic of bullying very personal for
Wow.
me and my family. And so as I sat down and started writing this book, and really it was my son's story, the isolation, the loneliness, the silence, the depression,
Wow.
the friendlessness, the rejection. As I wrote that, I just had tears coming
Yes.
down, and it ended up being pretty therapeutic and cathartic for
Yeah.
me. Even
Yes.
though it had happened years ago, there's still, you know, there was still a bit of that needed healing.
Yeah.
So as it just seemed to just be downloaded into me, I
Yes.
took it to my son, and I really needed his permission, because I knew that it was his story. And as
Mm,
he read it, tears came down his eyes as well. And he was like, yes,
wow.
if this will help somebody, you know. He says, but don't dedicate it to me and don't put my name in it. But you know,
How
so
old was he at the time when you wrote the book, when you asked for his permission?
let's see, that was so 21.
Oh,
21, so he
wow.
was an adult.
Yeah.
Yes.
And how old was he when he went through the bullying?
It was taking place during middle school, so he would have
Middle school.
been, how old are middle schoolers?
Yeah.
12,
Yeah.
13, yeah, 11, 12,
Yeah.
13, yes.
Yeah. I went through some bullying too in middle
Oh,
school. Yeah. So
wow,
yeah, middle school is tough for a lot of people. And
it
you know,
really is.
thankfully you all knew about it. My parents never knew what I was going through.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it took us 3 years, you know, it was happening, and then it finally was revealed in his final year
Oh,
toward
wow.
the end. Yeah, so there was that prevailing silence, which is what allows it to continue. And I understand the fear that
Mm,
the peers have is it's very real,
yeah.
because they don't know if they're going to be bullied, they don't know if they're going to be hurt. So my
Yes.
encouragement when I speak to them, it's like, tell several adults,
Yes.
because quite frankly, if you tell one, we don't know if that one adult is going to be someone who doesn't care either. You know, I
That's
hate to
right.
say it, but that is the truth.
That
So
is
tell
true.
more than one adult, and don't be a silent partner to this. Because what if
Wow.
that was you? What if that was your loved one?
That's powerful.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
All right, so we are going to show the teaser into the film and documentary that has won a Chicago Film Award, Chicago Indie Film Award.
There you go.
Just recently, this was what, in March or
Yeah, it should have been
February?
last month. Yeah, we're in
Yeah.
April already. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right, let's take a look at
Okay.
Fireburn, the documentary teaser.
One of the key things with learning about the Fireburn is knowing about the resilience and the strength of the ancestors of this space that we call St. Croix.
We have to go to court to have the VIAG history being taught in our school. And people without a knowledge of itself is like a tree without its root.
Who these people were? What gave them that fire? What was said to them from their ancestors that made them still want to stand strong and says, I'm gonna fight no matter what?
They were freed in 1848 by their own accord. And by 1878, they were still enslaved in a condition tied to the plantation system that is defined as serfdom. Very similar to also Europeans, but they're serfs and they're black.
There was anger, there was rightful indignation, and there was rage, but it was very directed. Throughout the West African region, you find the tradition of queens in the villages. The queens would be those women that were revered for their leadership role.
There were a bunch of young ladies, young women that decided that they were going to take things into their own hands.
They burned down the factories. They burned down the way that the money was made.
It was a selfless act. They knew the consequences of doing this.
It's a revolution. She is responding to you. It is the end. We have had it. It is time for an action call.
Yes, I. Powerful, powerful, powerful. Wow, I can't wait to see this. So how can the viewers get to view this documentary short?
Well, right now we're going through the film festival circuit, and several of the film festivals, if you are selected for them, and when you are selected for them, their requirement is that it cannot be publicly broadcasted anywhere in order to be accepted into it. Not all of them are that strict, but some of the more well-known ones are. Okay. And so we are we're waiting with bated breath to be able to offer it for screenings in the future, and we're working on how we can do that and still stay legal. Yeah. But in the meantime, if people would go to Instagram, is probably going to be the most frequently updated. Instagram, as well as the Facebook page, which is Everything Fireburn on Facebook. Okay. And then on Instagram, it's going to be Fireburn Documentary.
Okay.
If they look for those, we'll be saying, when is it going to be aired in a film festival? So if it's in your area, definitely attend the film festival, sign up for that. And that will be one way, but we're looking at ways that we can do it before it's actually going to be on PBS next year.
Okay.
So it will become available next year is what we're looking at after it's gone through the film festival circuit.
All right. Can you give the links to those again, the Facebook and the Instagram?
Yes. So Instagram, if you search for Fireburn documentary, or it may come up Fireburn the documentary.
Okay.
So either of those, and also Angela Golden Bryan, Angela Golden Bryan. I have a separate Facebook page, but a separate Instagram. Okay. So I would post something like that there if I am easier to find, and you can connect with Fireburn documentary through my personal page. And then on Facebook, it's called Everything Fireburn.
Everything Fireburn. All right.
You know what? I just went through all of that and I forgot our fireburndocumentary.com is live.
Okay.
So forgive me. So go there, and then you can have the little icons for each of those social media that I just said. That would be much easier.
Yeah.
Fireburndocumentary.com.
All right. So a team in the background will post that on our Facebook page, so that
there you go.
Chance to look at that. All right, great. And so for you, what was the purpose of wanting to put this into a documentary and wanting to tell that story? Because I think I read on your page, and it's so true, that not too many people are aware of this, even people in the Virgin Islands. And so what was your purpose for wanting to tell this story?
It was really an evolution, and sometimes I just sit down and I have to laugh at how the evolution started. And it started with, I was in Toastmasters, which is Toastmasters International, international public speaking group. And if anyone is in Toastmasters and they're listening to this now, they're probably cringing because they're saying, oh my gosh, she's saying and chips and blah, blah, blah. They're probably cringing, but yes, I was in Toastmasters. And one of the books that I was completing, I had to have a story. And the story needed to be true, and it needed to take the audience on a roller coaster of emotions. And I'm like, oh my God, what would that be? I don't know. But how God would have it, I went to a family party that weekend, and my late aunt Gada, as well as my aunt Jenny, who is also an author, she and my aunt Gada, they were talking, telling old time family history, and I'm just sitting there and I'm eating and everything. Then they get to Fireburn, and then they start talking about how she is my great grandmother Mariah. She was a teenager during the Fireburn, and how her parents were there, her younger brother and sister were there, and how all hell broke loose. My great grandfather got shot in the leg by one of the bullets. And it was my great grandmother's job. She took the children, her younger brother and sister, and she hid them in a ditch, and she covered them with dirt and leaves and garbage, anything that she could find. And they hid there while, just pandemonium just broke loose. And so I'm like, what a powerful story. And so what I did some research about Queen Mary Fireburn, and I incorporated, I did like an amalgam, my family story with the Queen Mary story, and I told it at Toastmasters, and I started winning awards, and people would request that I come to their club and tell the story. And that's when I realized these people have nothing to do with the Caribbean. They have nothing to do with the Virgin Islands. Nothing to do with Africa, as far as I know. They're not. They're not of the African diaspora, but they wanted to hear this story. And I thought about it as like, it resonates with people because it's a tale of what happens when our human rights are suppressed. It's a tale about inequality and bullying, and people resonate with it. So it started with the story. And then as an actor, I wasn't getting any jobs. Nobody was getting jobs. And I'm like, okay, well, it's because, I'm a woman of color and I'm middle-aged, and I'm making up all these excuses. And one of my acting coaches says, write something.
Huh.
Pick up your cell phone and you create something. Don't sit back and wait for somebody to come to you.
I love
And
that.
so I said, Fireburn. And that's how it all started. So I did Fireburn, the screenplay, which can be either a movie or it could be either a stage.
Okay.
And here's the thing, you know, sometimes when something bad happens or not to the expectation,
Right.
it can feel painful, but Romans 8:28 is my life verse. All things work together for the good of those who love the Lord and are called according to his purpose.
Purpose,
And
yes.
so, you know, I wanted an individual's endorsement for my book, my Fireburn book. And this individual did not give it to me and basically said that my book was a disgrace
Oh my
to
goodness.
Virgin Islands people because it was a lie. And I was like, well, you do understand that it is fiction, right? It is historical fiction. And this person said, well, so many people have lied about our history. Why should you should be, you know, pretty much I should be ashamed of myself. And it really did hurt at the time. And I did not get the endorsement, but it also planted a seed.
Okay.
And later on it said, you know what? Why not produce a documentary with the truth?
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So
Wow.
that's really how it was birthed, because I had no interest in being a documentarian. I really didn't. Yeah.
That is beautiful. Wow.
And now I'm loving it. I can't wait to produce my next documentary or my next film.
Oh my
so,
goodness.
So you know how something painful can be turned into something really beneficial and beautiful. That's definitely an example of that.
I thank you for that. I thank you for your resilience and not letting that to diminish your wonder and greatness, and that you found a way to take out from that, you know, what was powerful and necessary for you to continue to evolving and being who you are and touching so many other lives, that you didn't let it suppress you, or you didn't let your ego get the best of you. So I appreciate that. Thank you for sharing that. That is some powerful stuff, and we have a great direct link to the Fireburn and one of the things that stands out, you talk about your great, I think it's three greats, great mother, yes, and was 15 at the time and female. And we have these leaders of this movement who identified as you know, the females. I think we tend to hear three of them, but according to your research, you found out that there were more.
Yes, actually, there was an article that came out. Don't remember the newspaper, but it was I don't know if it was written by Wayne James or it was contributed, but it was in 2014. And through his research in Denmark, it was revealed that there was a fourth queen. And so we understand, you know, a lot of people had been three queens. And then during the interview process for the documentary, you know, I'm hearing, oh, there were tons of them. We just don't necessarily have their names.
Okay.
And the archives are held in Denmark and they're in Danish. And so now as they're being translated, more and more names are coming out. So, you know, one of the interviews said there's as many as 17 queens.
Wow.
And there are men and there are children whose names are coming forth. So this is something
like your grandmother Mariah.
Yeah, she was there, you know. And I what's beautiful about that is that we all have something to bring to the event, to the party, to life. And hers was simple. It was taking care of the children. It was keeping them safe.
And
is
I mean,
that not
cover
powerful?
them up with dirt and leaves. I mean, that's powerful right there.
Yes.
That's community activism. That's being in front, part of the revolution. That is magnificent, man.
Yes. So that speaks to me. So often in life, you know, people may feel a sense of purposelessness or that they are not contributing. But whatever arena they are in, are you doing it with excellence? Are you doing it with love? Are you leaving this world a better place than you found it? Then you are contributing, and be happy about that, because not everyone is going to hold a torch.
That's right.
Not everyone.
That's right.
If you're there and you're moving forward, yeah, you're a part
of the
of
movement.
change, and honor your part.
That's right. I love that. Wow. And so we talk about, the value, the significance of women and just females overall, because as we talk about with your great grandmother, that she was not even an adult according to, at least today's standards of when you become an adult. At 15, she and others, they were part of it. But women tend to, as in a lot of the, experiences in today's world or in 20th century or even before, are not being recognized as being significant contributors to our communities, and on our culture. But yet we see these queens kind of help lead the way. And we also have in some tribes in Africa that the queens were the warriors that helped to protect the tribes and stuff like that. So why you think that women are not being as recognized as they should as part of our history?
Well, that's an interesting question, and of course I can only speculate.
Right.
But it would seem like with so much of our culture, that not the African, because as you mentioned, a lot of the queens were, and the leaders, they honored the contribution made by women. It may be more of the Eurocentric contributions that that the woman's place was in the kitchen and with the children only, speaking only to the women and only to the children. And so maybe I'm just guessing some of the contributions that women did make, because the desire to, I think, to increase and add and to be of service is within all of us, may have been shadowed by the male partners, because that is what was acceptable. For a woman, for many centuries, for a woman to be intelligent was considered quite unattractive. It was considered a male quality if a woman was too intelligent.
Wow.
So maybe it's just some of that old residue, but I think, wow, look who's, we have a female vice president now. Check it out. I think it definitely changed.
Definitely. So it's good to see. And so as we talk about the influence of women and in today's world, some of the challenges, the industry that you're in as an entertainer, you've encountered any of those challenges, as you may have mentioned, as even though you probably thought you were just finding reasons why things wasn't happening, but some of that could have been true. Being a woman of color, was that something that may have hindered you from being more successful in the entertainment as an actress, especially?
Yeah, and once again, no one ever said, well, Angela, it's because you are a woman of color and because you're middle-aged or whatever like that. But simply turning on the television and taking a look at commercials, spokesperson jobs, movies, television shows, who are the majority of people, of ethnicities, of sex that are being representative. And so with that in mind, auditions are going to mimic what's out there.
Right.
If this many, African American, Caribbean American, women of color are on TV and film, television and film, that's how many auditions will be out there. Wow. And so that's another big push for me now that I have this taste in me of what it's like to be a producer and to write something. It's like, wow, what an opportunity. So I'm super excited. And, I've never felt, and I know your question wasn't designed to create this, but I've never really felt like a victim, because I love who I am.
Very
it's
good.
Just how things are or were back then.
Right.
So what can I do about it? So I definitely love to be proactive.
And I like that. I really, really do. Instead of operating either as a victim or a survivor, you choose to thrive. Thriver. So all of this happened, but then what? What am I going to do about it moving forward to helping me and helping others who may be victims or survivors of things that were atrocities or negative experiences that were not supporting them to be their best selves.
Yes.
So
and I love how you frame that, Warren, because it really is, I do believe in we joining hands, we're linking arms, and we're going up together. That old saying that oh, it's lonely
That's
at the
right.
top. Well, why don't you take some people with you then?
Right.
If
And
it's
then
so lonely at the top,
I
take
hate
people with
that.
you. Don't leave
Right,
them
that's right.
behind. So
Yeah. And so many influences, as you said, it could be a lot of European and influences of one person being at the top. And we see especially in our African culture and in a lot of Caribbean cultures, community was so important, that we did, not I, as we say, a lot of presidents would say, I this and I that, and you didn't do this by yourself.
that's right.
Yeah, it's good that we in our culture we need to make sure that we are keeping that alive,
Yeah.
culture of community. It's about I think Ubuntu, I think is Yoruba, a term or name that focuses, I am because we are.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
So that is,
Which, very similar to something we were talking about earlier. That also meant that all elder family members had spanking privileges. You could
Right.
get beat by anybody.
yes, accountability from more than one
Yes.
speaker, and so help to keep people in check.
Exactly.
So
It really is.
that is so beautiful. Thank you so much for that. All right. So for you, with the Fireburn, are there any paraphernalia? Is there anything out there that we can purchase in order to support the film and all the energy and effort that was put into it? Is anything out there on one of the links that we can go to?
Yeah, right now it's really my books, and the best place really to go to get any of my books are AngelaGoldenBryan.com under the products.
Okay.
And for a while, I was selling T-shirts as well.
Okay.
And I'm gonna have to find a good way to do that because I love T-shirts.
Yeah.
But stocking them and having the sizes and everything tended to be a bit problematic.
Okay.
But that may be something in the future because I love T-shirts, and I think our poster, which you'll find on fireburn.documentary.com, the poster, I absolutely love it. It's filled with so much symbolism and that internal part. A lot of people are familiar with the big Fireburn painting that's in the Frederiksted post office.
Okay.
It's huge, beautiful painting.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the inside of the documentary poster was created by the same artist, Nathaniel Mack Jr.
Oh my goodness.
And he never put it out. It was never published, but it was made by him, given as a gift to my aunt, who gifted it to me. So I feel like it's such a beautiful symbol of, the Fireburn. And now from someone who was so passionate about the event.
Right.
And then when you look at it, there's the fist, which is the whole, symbolism of Black Lives Matter.
Yeah. Wow.
And if you look at the bottom of it, you have to look at the Virgin Islands flag is at the bottom.
Okay.
So yeah, you probably have to go to the press release to see a full length picture of the poster. But yeah, the Virgin Islands flag is at the bottom. So in that you're seeing Black Lives Matter, you're seeing Virgin Islands history, and you're seeing our flag. It's beautiful.
Wow. Yeah, I would love to put that up. So we'll see if we can find that and put it on the website in our group page.
Yeah, go to the press kit, and you can download images there.
Okay, that would be great. Mm-hmm. All right, so for you, who else? Well, what are some other people who played a role in helping you to make this come alive for you?
Wow, yeah, thank you so much for asking. I have to, Marjorie Tingle, co-producer, she is absolutely brilliant with bringing people together. I met her in 2006 at African American Film Festival in Miami.
Okay.
And we kept in touch, and I, was it 2019, I believe it was, I started telling her, hey, I have this. And before you know it, she's bringing together director Joel Findelman, who's award-winning and brilliant. Then she's like Stephen Tingus, another producer. And before we know it, we have this team of people, that she's brought together. and then get to St. Croix, and people are just pouring out their generosity. WTJX, you know, they helped with staffing. You're looking at the restaurants feeding
Wow.
us, looking at the Community Foundation of the Virgin Islands with funding from the National Endowment of Humanities, giving us a major grant. And then you're
Wow.
looking at the Virgin Islands Caribbean Cultural Center helping us out, sponsoring us as well. So, I mean, people were just coming forward like this. St. George Botanical Garden, we filmed some there.
Okay.
Caribbean Museum for the Art, we filmed some there. It was just so
Big
amazing.
undertaking, yeah.
Yeah, the people just coming forward. And of course, all of our interviewees who said yes, because not everyone that I asked said yes.
Okay.
And that's okay, because, you know, being a woman of faith, I know that everything is going to work out, and that who was supposed to be in the documentary was in the documentary.
Was in there, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm so thankful for everyone who said yes, and, you know, gave of their knowledge, their resources, their passion, and they showed up, and they gave, you know, 200%, and it's because of everyone that I've mentioned, and I pray that I haven't forgotten anyone, that you know, that we are being accepted into the film festivals and we've won an award is because of their work, their hard work, and what they've put into it.
Very good. So proud. Thank you.
Thank
So for you, you're a writer, you have other artistic talents, but as a writer, what role has that played for you in your life's journey in helping you to be Angela?
Well, writing for me was like almost like an accidental thing.
Mhm.
It was something that my teachers throughout high school, elementary school, college, they always told me that I did very well, but I didn't think anything of it because I didn't necessarily enjoy it. And being a person encased in flesh, you know, I tend to go by warm fuzzies and what feels good. And so I
Okay.
never really looked at my writing as anything of a big deal, because I didn't sit down and say, oh man, I love writing. But
Yes.
more and more, it was bearing fruit.
Mm.
And as some have said to me, so your mouth ain't got no Sunday at all. You know, so it's like my mouth wasn't bearing fruit, you know, but the writing was. And so I had to take a look at this and start writing more. I also am a contributing author for an internationally published Christian devotional,
Okay.
you know, Life from the Word. And, you know, I just accepted another assignment for them. And I said, you know what? This is something I need to look at seriously.
Yeah,
I
for
really
sure.
do. Yeah, and maybe just listen more, shut up, and write more.
Right. Right. Okay. How does it feel that you are, helping to leave a mark in not just Virgin Islands culture, but Caribbean culture, and even African culture, I would add to that, with this documentary, as well as the other writings that you have had, that you've going on? How does that feel for you?
You know, I have got to say it's very fulfilling. And one of my, I don't want to say fear, but you know what, call it what it is. It was like this little nagging fear that the enemy was like, trying to dig at me.
Yeah.
Was leaving this earth, transitioning into the eternal, and not having contributed anything. And I thought, what a waste I would feel like my life has been. And not that I have done the epitome of anything, but I feel satisfied and content now that I have given a little bit back from my gifts. Amen. So I think that's a question no one has asked me yet. And so I had to think on the spot. Yeah, it really does feel good to give something that I must say, because it's in paper now, it will probably outlive me.
That's right. That's right.
It's in writing.
Yes. So that's
it's a done deal. Yeah.
What does like VI culture mean to you? Like what from what you have received from it, how it has nurtured you, and just on a macro level, what does Virgin Islands culture mean to you?
Wow. And I alluded to it earlier. Growing up, I didn't really appreciate it. What I appreciated the food, fried fish and Johnny
Yes.
cake and all, and the tot and all of that. I
And Johnny
appreciated
cake.
all of that. That's what I appreciated. But as I left and became an adult and started learning more, wow, what a rich, powerful history we have and the stories that we have. And so for me, I'm scratching the surface and what I've done. And my desire is to learn more. And I'm like, I've got to go back to St. Croix and stay for a few months and just bathe myself in the culture and my heritage and learn more, because I really don't know a lot. I don't. So I want to hang out with the people that do know. I want to rub elbows with them and learn from them.
I'm in agreement with you, because I'm thinking I know a thing or two, but I know much about the island itself, the Virgin Islands, and just our history and our people and the culture. And there's so much things we just take for granted. It's just like the beach for many of us. The beach is always there, so we barely ever go because we're gonna get to it one day, and appreciate those who are able to engross themselves or engage in the culture and the natural habitat that the Virgin Islands have to offer. So yeah, you're right. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
So, coming to your purpose in life, what do you think that is? Your life's purpose?
I at the end of the day, I really do think it is about encouraging, energizing, equipping, and educating. I love the E's, all of these.
Energizing, equipping, and educating.
Yes, and during different seasons, that will look different. But when I look at my core, it always comes back to that. It really does. How can I be of service? I love being of service.
Okay.
And of service for me are those E's, the energizing, encouraging, especially. And so it looks like this season of my life, it really is about Virgin Islands and the culture and learning more and digging deeper, because not that it really does matter, I'm willing, hey, God, use me however you want me to be used. But part of me is like, okay, I don't want to be like, what do you call it, a one-trick pony with just Fireburn. I need to know more. But I've only scratched the surface. There's still so much more to learn about Fireburn. But we have so much more that needs to be tapped into. I can't wait. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it too, and supporting you and seeing how we can, continue to educate our people and help our people to see the brilliance of who we are. We talked earlier, and you mentioned about with your roles as an actress, and that you were not in a lot of big movies or shows and stuff like that, and then some people who look down on that, like actress, you mean what you doing? Mean here, right?
That's the first question. Is like, okay, so if you say you're a singer, where can I hear you? Or I'm a singer, but I only sing in the shower. I'm still a singer though. But it is that question of I am an actress.
Right.
And it took me a long time before I even wanted to say that, because indeed people will want to know, and it's just a natural curiosity. Well, what can I see you in? It's like, well, okay,
you remember
commercial that I did 20 years ago?
Yeah. Well, that sister in the front, check behind her. That's me.
Oh, did you see that show? Well, okay, don't blink your eyes. That was me.
So that's I think it's important that we take that and see what we can do to help other people who have talents that maybe won't get them on a national or international scene, but it doesn't mean they shouldn't nurture and exercise it, because they might have that talent to bless the people around them, rather than trying to bless the people around the world and trying to seek fame. And the talent isn't just about fame.
Exactly.
So,
and you know what? There's so many different vehicles. So for an actor, I mean, you can be on stage. There's so many different ways. But I found during the pandemic, I had said for years I've been saying I want to beef up my YouTube channel and just play around and do something.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things that I managed to do during the pandemic. And I found putting my little iPhone in my kitchen with some lighting,
Oh,
it was so
yes.
fulfilling for me. You know,
Yeah.
making a little 3-minute video. And that was although when I'm doing that, I'm not acting. It
Right.
fulfilled my thing that I like to share. And what am I doing? I'm encouraging people with food, and I'm in front. So for me, it fed that thing of acting. So it's like tap into what vehicles people can use to bring those desires and talents and gifts out.
So so you do some cooking as well.
Yes. You know,
goodness.
what's funny is like, okay, I tell people, okay, I'm a raw food chef. I was vegan for over a year, but I am the raw food chef that also eats meat on occasion. So
Okay.
I don't want anyone to say I lied to them when they see me
Right.
digging into some chicken, you know?
Well, that is good, man. So I think on YouTube, I subscribe to you as well here. I think it's by your name, Angela Golden Bryan.
Yes, sir. I try to keep it simple.
Okay, good. All right. So if you are on YouTube, if you have a YouTube account, please check Angela at Angela Golden Bryan and subscribe to her. You'll see some of her many other things that she's involving, especially her cooking. So please check that out.
Thank you.
Yeah, the people who are our viewers, listeners, please, we are getting ready to close up. If you have any questions, I haven't seen any come across, please do so. The audience is enjoying the interview, Kalila Moorhead said. So thank you, Lady Kalila, for that. Thank you, Lady Angela Golden Bryan. So that one last final question. For what is your vision, right? As it relates to the U.S. Virgin Islands, whether it be as it relates to literature or creativity and the performing arts, or just as a community on a whole, what would make you feel so proud that we have evolved into as a community, as a people?
Wow, that's multifaceted. So let me just start chipping away at some facets. Let's see.
Yeah. Start anywhere and we will go with whatever. Yeah.
Love to see the Virgin Islands as this beautiful, strong cultural place. And so many people are doing that already. I would love to see the youngsters really take part in more and to really utilize the natural resources in a way that helps the economy, but also preserve. You know, we are stewards of this planet Earth. Now, you know, I don't get all carried away and stuff like that, but I would love to absolutely see the natural resources of the island being taken care of in a really nice way. You know, take care of it, beautify it. The work that I do, I would love for it to lead to, collaborative efforts and creating movies with Virgin Islanders acting in them and creating jobs. A lot of cultural tourism is what I would love to see down the road with, if I could help in any way, which is I'm definitely going to try through the film industry, but I'd love to see the film industry ramped up, and I'll see what I can do. If not, someone else. But yeah, lots of things. I have so many ideas in terms of what that could look like, but I better not do any spoiler alerts.
Right, no problem. No problem. It'll come out at the right time.
Yes.
Fire button. All right, I think we have a question, comment from, I think, Miss Nicole, who would like you to give some encouraging words for the people of the Virgin Islands. People dealing with multiple of things. We have the pandemic and that's going on, and the virtual learning that is leading to a lot of. I'm on the Children Task Force with Dr. Celia Victor, and one of the things that comes up from time to time is the struggles that a lot of the students and teachers are having with the virtual learning, and a lot of students who are just discouraged. the learning, the contact, the human contact and face-to-face is a part of the educational experience. So
Yeah.
people dealing with that, we have families who are struggling, who lost jobs and dealing with a lot of other things. So any kind of encouraging words you would have for people who are dealing with some negativity from the pandemic or just in general?
Yes, my prayer is that anything that I say doesn't sound like trite and like, oh, it's okay, because no, it as things stand right now, it doesn't feel okay, not at all. But one of the things that I've found that lends towards helplessness is when we envision, and when I envision that there is no end in sight, and it looks like it's going to last forever,
Right.
and you feel like you just can't hang on anymore, that's when it seems the worst. And so one of my encouragements would be to know that there are seasons in life, and I don't know the meaning of this season for each individual.
Right.
It cannot and it will not last forever. Seasons don't stay.
Right.
And so during this season, if if you're a person of faith, if not, I'm not sure quite how to advise, but for me, I ask God, what is the silver lining in this?
Yes.
How can I help? What can I do? Because so often, in the counseling experience and dealing with my son, when we're depressed and hopeful, we turn hopeless, we turn inwards, and we can only focus on ourselves. But when we look to see, oh my gosh, that person over there, they just had 5 people died in their family. And wow, how can I be of service? And we start projecting outwards. It takes some of the pain off of us. So if there's any way, for the kids to form some type of service project, some type of way to give back, even when it seems like you can't give, what can you give?
Right.
Can they write something? Can they write letters of encouragement to the elderly, to the even more shut in than you are?
Right.
But just know, nothing lasts forever, even this season of pain.
Right.
Yeah.
And I like what you're asking and praying for is like, what is the silver lining? What is the message that we are to get from this as a people and individually? Each we have the different messages, and I think it's important that we stay encouraged. We see what we can do to contribute to this. We talk about the queens of the Fireburn. They didn't sit around and just like, woe is us. What can we do to contribute to the emancipation of our people? Because slavery was supposed to have been over by then, and they were still being treated as indentured servants and or slaves, and they stood up. And so what can we do as a people? I'll add to what Lady Angela has said. What can we do? Search, ask, don't point fingers what they're supposed to do, what the government's supposed to do, what this person is supposed to do. What can we do? We are vibrant and powerful people.
Yes.
There's a lot that we can do, but we start small, and we learn to appreciate the smallness of things, and we don't recognize the power that the small things that we can do. It holds a lot of power, and it begins to build a momentum. So I definitely encourage that as well.
Yeah. What one person can you help?
Yeah. One, and then after that one, what's another one? Like focus one at a time. I like that. Yes. Thank you, Queen Angela. So again, I am Warren Mitchell. This is Vibe with VIAG, and today's special guest is the Lady Angela Golden Bryan. Thank you for being a guest. What was that?
So that was for you.
Yes, you're welcome. Thank you so much for making this feel so comfortable. I love them colors in the back there. I really, really appreciate it.
Yep, I love colors.
So again, let us know what it is that we can do to support you, to support this venture, and then let us keep in touch and see how we can continue to support our Caribbean people and be in expressing and engaging and contributing to our legacy, and not waiting for somebody else to do that. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
Thank you, Kalila, Naima, Tracy, Barbie, Fonda, Antoinette. These are the committees, members of the Virgin Islands Association of Georgia. Thank you all so much for all your support. Thank you, listeners. Thank you, audience members, for participating, viewing, taking your time out on this Friday evening to joining us. And next month, we will have a special guest. I think he's called a Mr. Rogers of our community. Let me pull up his name here and see. I had it in front of me and I misplaced it. But thank you, Naima, who really looked out and found this guy who's been doing some work for us. His name is Julio Peterson. He is an actor, singer, director of a theater company in Houston and from St. Croix. They call him the modern day Black Mr. Rogers, or the guy from Reading Rainbow, LeVar Burton. He has a Facebook and YouTube channel and Positive Role Models for Kids. And so we will be interviewing him next month. So look forward to that. And we also have our VIAG meeting coming up as well. And so we will be putting that out there for you. I think that might be tomorrow, but I'm not sure about that. We'll double check on that. Angela, Queen Angela Golden Bryan, much love. May God
My
bless
pleasure.
you.
Thank you.
Be
Thank
with
you.
you and guide and protect this venture to be a very prosperous and powerful instrument in helping so many people to continue the freeing of themselves. Thank you to your son for overcoming what he has overcome and to contributing to this writing in his own way.
Thank you.
All right. Well, take care, everybody. Take care, Lady Angela.
All
Until
righty.
next
Good
time.
night. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye with VIAG.